Friday, February 16th,
Let us proceed with the first song.
2024. It is currently 10 o'clock and 28 degrees and snowing here in the greater Portland area. It's really cooled down in the last couple of days. We had a week where it was about 50 degrees, and then I woke up one day and it was 20. And now it's snowing, which is good. It's winter. It should be doing that. I have this app on my phone that belongs to the local weather channel, and whenever it snows, the app speaks to me, and it goes, "It's about to snow in your area in 10 minutes," or whatever. And last night, right as I'm falling asleep, it goes very loud and goes, "Snow will begin in your area in 27 minutes. It's like it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. I want to go to sleep. This is Aurora. It's one of those days. I keep losing internet. I don't know what it is about my PC. It just hates to stay connected to the internet. I even bought a new dual band adapter, and it still just hates staying connected to the internet. It is so inconvenient. But anyway, it looks like we are back on. The connection was successful. I hope you all are doing well. We weren't on last week. We were out last week. I tried to. I was in Boston last Friday. And there used to be this app that I had on my phone that allowed me to stream from my phone onto YouTube. But it didn't work anymore. So I couldn't. But yeah, I was in Boston last Friday, so I couldn't stream. It was very cold in Boston last Friday too. Alright, let's see. Is there anything like real important for me to report on that happened the last couple of weeks? I don't think that there necessarily is anything that was too terribly important to report on. So the last stream that we did... Oh, I know what I'm going to report on. Stay tuned. There is the Spider Queen Season 1 Part 1 video is going to be released soon. Stay tuned for that. And maybe a video going along with it. You might be wondering, why do I want to watch that? Why do I want to watch a video that has all 8 episodes of Spider Queen in them if I've already watched them individually on YouTube? Yeah, you're right. You don't have to. But episode 1, 2, and 3 have been digitally remastered for YouTube 1080p. And there's never before seen footage that's going to be in there as well. The video is about 2 hours long, so it's kind of a long one. Anyway, you can stay tuned for that coming out soon. Now, last week we ranked all of the... Well, not last week. 2 weeks ago. We ranked all of the Spider-Man, live-action Spider-Man films. This week... And then we pull it up here. Let me get away from the stream. I'm always looking at the stream. This week we are going to do... If I can remember how I do this here. This week, we are going to stream here we go. Okay, that doesn't work. The window I just pulled up didn't work. Give me a minute. This week, we're going to rank, as I'm trying to figure out the program here, this week, we're going to rank all of, let's do window capture. We're going to rank all of the Batman movies. There we go. That works. Boom. Yes, this week we'll rank all of the live-action Batman movies. So this isn't the cartoons. This isn't the video games. This is exclusively the live-action theatrical movies that were released alongside in the movie. The ones that were released in the movie theater. Okay, perfect. Alright, so Batman is my all-time favorite superhero. I think I've definitely mentioned that before. I think Batman is the best superhero. I think it's cool that he's just a human. He doesn't have any superpowers. He's just rich, and he works very hard to become the Batman. He trains hard. He works hard. He's not just some guy with superpowers. So I think that's really cool. I just also think the Batman's cool. So anyway, we're going to rank all of the Batman movies. Now, Batman's my favorite superhero, and I've seen all the movies a bunch of times. But in order to prepare for this, I did go back and rewatch all of the Batman movies leading up to this. I finished last night. There are a lot of Batman movies, and I had a whole schedule on how I was going to do it, like which Batman movie I was going to watch on which day. Then I sort of fell behind, and I fell off the schedule, and then it turned out that I had to start watching multiple Batman movies in one day, and that began in the Dark Knight trilogy. So I had to watch Batman Begins and Batman the Dark Knight in the same day. I watched The Dark Knight Rises on its own, and then I had to watch 6.5 hours of the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe last night. 6.5 hours. But I did it. I did it for the video. I did it for the content. Alright. Oh, shoot. I exited out of the wrong tab there. Give me just a second here as we prepare. As I prepare to get ready. I accidentally closed the streaming tab. I'm a little tired this morning, so I apologize. Up late night. Okay, here we go. Ranking all of the Batman movies. And again, just like with the Spider-Man movie, I'm ranking them in terms of their overall awesomeness and cool badassness, if you forgive me for my language there. Sorry, children. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to turn up my phone. People only text me when I'm doing something important, like recording or in a meeting. It's really funny. Okay, anyway, here we go. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Okay, so we're starting with all of the Batman movies. We will start from the beginning. I'm not doing the animated movies, so I don't know why Lego Batman and this Batman one are in here. I'm not. They were in there with the tier list. I can't get rid of them. So we're going to start with 1966's Batman. With Adam West as Batman and Burt Ward as Robin. The 1966 Batman movie came out, I believe, at the end of the first season of the Batman live-action television show, and is, to this day, one of the very first superhero movies to ever have been made. I believe that the only movie that is before the superhero movie that came out before this would be Superman something. Hold on, I'm gonna find out the exact. But I know it is one of the very first superhero movies to have ever come out, way before Marvel started making their stuff. DC movies in order. No, not DC, not the DCEU. Just DC. I had this website up the other day, wasn't it? All DC movies. List of films based on DC comic publications. Here we go. The first one was in 1951, and it was Superman and the Mole Man. And then the second one was 1966's Batman. So it is the second superhero movie that I think ever was truly made. List of Marvel movies. List of films based on Marvel movie publications. Yes, because the first Marvel movie was released in 1986, and that was Howard the Duck. So I believe that this Batman 1966 is is one of the very first superhero movies to have ever been made. Starring Adam West and Burt Ward. It is based off of the live-action television show that lasted 3 seasons. I believe that was on CBS, maybe? I don't know. Adam West was Batman. Burt Ward was Robin. Cesar Romero was the Joker. Julie Newmar was Catwoman. Can't think of this. Burgess Meredith was Penguin. Frank Gorshin was Riddler. And Alan Napier was Alfred. Stafford Rep was Chief O'Hara, and Neil Hamilton was Commissioner Gordon. And that was the cast. Well, that's the cast in the television show. In Batman, the movie, this one, 1966, Julie Newmar, who plays Catwoman in the television show, was filming something else and couldn't play Catwoman in the movie. And Catwoman in the movie was played by, I want to say, Lee Merriweather. Yes, Lee Merriweather, I was right, plays Catwoman in the movie. Now, this movie takes all of the most famous Batman villains, the Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, and the Catwoman, and put them together in their own movie where they're working together in the League of Underworld or whatever, to take over not just Gotham City, but the entire world by using Schmidt Labs' new invention that they can departicleize human beings and take the water out of them, so they break into the United Nations and vaporize all of the people, all of the UN leaders, and hold them ransom. And there's this really awesome fight scene at the end of the movie where they're all fighting on top of the Penguin's nuclear submarine. It's really cool. And it's probably the closest movie to like the original comics that you're ever going to get is the 1966 Batman. In this version, Batman is a fully deputized officer of the law. He is not a wanted criminal like in the other Batman movies, how he's a wanted criminal, The Dark Knight. After this, they take a very... yeah, I'm okay. Why do I sound like I'm not okay? Sorry. What was I getting with this? Oh, that's right. So in the other Batman movies, he's sort of viewed more as a criminal, as a vigilante, a criminal. It's against the law. But in this one, he's not. They work with the police, and this movie always will hold a special place in my heart simply because it is the earliest movie. Like, it is the first movie that I ever remember watching. Like, it is the earliest memory that I have of watching a movie is the 1966 Batman. So it's always going to hold a special place in my heart because of that, for being one of the very first movies that I have ever seen. I loved it. I love the 1966 Batman show. I've watched the entire thing. I think it's funny. I like the lightheartedness. And I think it's cool. The Batmobile is really cool in this version. Like, I really love the 1966 Batman. I think it was... I just threw my phone. So it's always going to have that nostalgia, that place of nostalgia in my heart. There's a lot of really cool things, too. A lot of features in the DVD. Because they released the DVD, obviously, I think it was in like 2001. So years and years after the movie was released. Over like almost 40 years. Simply because DVDs weren't out in the 60s. But there are a lot of special features. And I guess in that final submarine fight, one of the actors almost died because they jumped off the boat. Because it was, back then, it wasn't visual effects. It were all practical effects. Everything on screen was done by, it was actually happening. Now in a superhero movie, most effects are visual. They're CGI. Back then they couldn't do that. And so the submarine fight, they have like the submarine in a pool or something, and they're fighting, and I guess one of the actors like hit their head when they jumped in the water and almost died. But everything, I think this movie is great. And so as of right now, I'm just gonna rearrange these again, like I do with the Spider-Man movies. After I get them all on the timeline, I'm gonna rearrange them. But for right now, this is sitting at the top of S rank, just for pure nostalgia and awesomeness. And that was in 1966. So the next Batman movie is also labeled Batman. the movie. Just put it. I'll put it right here for now, just so we can. I'll put it in the middle so we can view it properly. Batman, the movie, and I believe that was released in 1981, or was it 89? It might have been 89. I'm gonna look it up for sure, but I think it was 89. No, not the Batman. Batman 19. Okay, it was 1989. So Batman 1989, and it starred Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Michael Keaton as Batman. And this was Tim Burton's Batman, and it got a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Hold on, I forgot to tell you what the other Batman movie got. The other Batman movie got a 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. So Batman 1966 got a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than Tim Burton's Batman. And it got a 6.5 on IMDb. Tim Burton's Batman got a 7.5. So it got a higher IMDb score, but a lower Rotten Tomatoes score. So the Tim Burton 1989 movie starred, as I said, Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Batman, Michael Keaton as Batman. This one is probably the most famously talked about Batman movie. Usually when I see people talk about, Batman movies and which ones are the best, they don't even include the 1966 Batman movie. Most people just consider Batman having started with this movie. I don't agree with that. Obviously, I love 1966 Batman, but a lot of people view this as the original Batman movie. It sort of starts as the Batman, as the masked vigilante, the more dark side of Batman. And this movie is where the famous Batman dun 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 dun, dun the Batman theme song, came from. I can't even hum it right now. But the one it's in Lego Batman, it's in a bunch of the movie. It's one of the famous ones. I mean, the original Batman 1966 was the na 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 Batman. So that's also pretty famous too, but this one started that. And the Tim Burton Batman Batverse, Batman universe, had 4 movies, and I think Michael Gough played, I'm probably butchering his last name, played Alfred, and Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent. Kim Basinger played Vicky Vale. Robert Wool played Alexander Knox. And Pat Hingle played Commissioner Gordon. Now, the only 2 actors to consistently remain in the Tim Burton Batverse throughout all 4 movies are Michael Gough as Alfred and Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. So this movie featured Batman versus the Joker, and the Joker's trying to take over Gotham City. Jack Nicholson is very much sort of centered as the main character, the main actor of the movie. So there's a lot of Joker stuff in this movie. It's very Joker centered. But this movie it does have a lot of famous quotes in it, like, "I'm Batman," with Michael Keaton. I know a lot of people, they think that Michael Keaton, actually an acting teacher of mine says that Michael Keaton is her favorite Batman. A lot of people think that Michael Keaton played Batman the best out of all of them. I am not. No, I don't think that. But a lot of people do think that. I think Michael Keaton was very, very good, but I wouldn't say that he is the best. So this is Batman, 1989. Oh. I'm going to put this. For now, I'm going to put this under A. All right. Next up is the direct sequel to Batman 1989, and I want to say it came out in 1981, but I could be wrong, so let me pull up the exact date for it, and that would be, nope, not 19, it wouldn't have came out in 1981, the first one came out in 1989, I'm dumb, is 1992's Batman Returns. So let's put that in the middle to look at. 1982 Batman Returns with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 81%, an IMDb of 7.1, and Letterboxd of 3.6 out of 5. Batman Returns once again stars Michael Keaton as Batman, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and Danny DeVito as Oswald Cobblepot / the Penguin. And it stars Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, and again Michael Gough as Alfred Pennyworth, and Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. Batman Returns, a lot of people view as, out of the two Michael Keaton Batman movies, I think a lot of people think Batman Returns is the better one. Batman Returns is a lot darker. I would say it's around the same darkness level as Batman 1989. Batman Returns features the Penguin as the kid that was abandoned in the sewers as he comes up into the city to try to embrace himself as a member of the city, but really he just wants to get revenge on all of the firstborns of Gotham City who didn't have it as rough as he is. So basically, the Penguin comes from the rich Cobblepot family, and when he was born, his parents were so disgusted and horrified by his deformed look, because he was born with 3 fingers and a monstrous face, that they decided to throw him into the sewer, and he lived in the sewer with a bunch of penguins. And then he comes up and saves the mayor's son, and everyone loves him, and he wants to get revenge on the firstborns of Gotham that had it better than he was. But he plays with Max Schreck Favor, who's the head of the Schreck Company, to try to run for mayor of Gotham City, which is kind of cool because that's a story plot from the 1960s Batman television show where the Penguin runs for mayor against Batman. And in the midst of this is Catwoman, who works for Max Schreck, and he tried to kill her, and it's a whole thing. And of course, Batman and Catwoman have a love thing going on, because that's how it always goes. So this is Batman Returns. One thing actually that I do want to point out, before I keep forgetting, about the Tim Burton Batman universe, and if you've ever watched a Tim Burton film, you've definitely noticed this. Tim Burton has a style of a directing style. He did Batman Returns, and the whole Batverse. And then he also did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Or is it Willy Wonka? The one with Johnny Depp. He did that one. He has a very specific style. And I think he did Sweeney Todd too. He has a very specific style of movie. And a very specific way that he does things. And in the Tim Burton Batman universe, the Gotham City is very fabricated. It's very fake. In 1966 Batman, it's based off of New York City, and it's mostly like blue screen, green screen with New York in the background. This is very different. This Gotham City was constructed solely for the Batman universe, and you can tell when you're looking at it that it's not a real city. It's got that fabricated look to it, but in this version, it's a very industrial city. And it looks very fake. Like if you look up the Tim Burton Gotham City, it looks very fake. It's very dark. It's very smoggy. It's very industrial. And I just want to point that out because it's a little bit different than the rest. All right. So we got to rank Batman Returns. I will rank Batman Returns above Batman. And now we move on to the next one. Let me just look over in the chat real quick for comments. All right, awesome. Okay, back to it. All right, so the next one is the next 2 Batman movies we get to are kind of the ones that people joke about a lot. The next one is 1995's Batman Forever, starring Val Kilmer as Batman, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, and Jim Carrey as the Riddler, Nicole Kidman as oh my gosh, what was her name? She is the report. No, she's not a reporter. What was she? I can't remember. A photographer is what she was. Well, I can't think of what her name is. Dr. Chase. She played the no. Yes, she played the psychiatrist. Dr. Chase, and then Chris O'Donnell as Robin. Dick Grayson, aka Robin. And again, it stars Michael Gough as Alfred and Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. Drew Barrymore was in this movie. She played Sugar, one of Two-Face's henchmen. Henchwomen, I guess I would say. Alright, so this is Batman Forever. Alright, so this is Batman Forever is Val Kilmer's turn in the cowl as the Dark Knight. And as the Caped Crusader. And in this movie, he's fighting off against the Riddler and Two-Face. Two-Face in this movie, well, Two-Face, Harvey Dent, is the district attorney of Gotham City. And in this movie, someone threw acid at his face, I can't remember who it was, and burns half of his face, and Batman fails to stop it from happening. So Two-Face sort of has a grudge against Batman, and it starts off with the first act of the movie with Batman fighting Two-Face. And the Riddler works for Bruce Wayne and comes up with this device where you put it on your head and it links you to the television, but it links all of the minds in Gotham City, and you can basically read everyone's brain. And Bruce Wayne says, sorry, you can't do that. That's, super terrible thing to do. And so he becomes the Riddler, and they end up fighting. And then they go to the circus for some reason, and he meets Dick Grayson, and his parents die in the circus, and then he becomes the Robin to Batman. And it's interesting. I'd say, I don't know. I'm thinking about if where to rank this one. Batman Forever. Batman also has the nipple suit in this one. I don't know why they decided to give him the nipple suit in this one, but yeah, he has a nipple suit. I'm going to leave Batman Forever where it is for now on the tier list. And now we're moving on to the one that everybody makes fun of. And that would be 1997's Batman and Robin. Where is it? Here it is. 1997's Batman and Robin. Everybody makes fun of this movie. So this stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, George Clooney as Batman, Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, Chris O'Donnell as Robin, he returns as Robin, and Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. This movie, and once again, Michael Gough returns as Alfred, and Pat Hingle returns as Commissioner Gordon. In this movie sort of returns to a more comedic version of Batman. I think this is the closest it'll ever get to being like the 1966 show, is Batman and Robin. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger. Time to put you on ice. I think it's cool that they bring in Mr. Freeze. I think Mr. Freeze is one of the best Batman villains, and he's not portrayed that often. This is the first time on the big screen that Mr. Freeze was portrayed. I really hope in Matt Reeves' The Batman 2 that it's Mr. Freeze. I don't know if it will be, but I think Mr. Freeze is one of the best Batman villains because he was trying to save his wife who got sick and ended up cryo-freezing himself, and now Mr. Freeze cannot survive unless he is in a very cold room or he's wearing his cool suit, which can only be powered by diamonds, and that's why he became a thief. So this is Mr. Freeze's first time on the big screen. Mr. Freeze was in the 1966 Batman television show. He was not in the movie, but Mr. Freeze is in this movie, and Poison Ivy is in this movie. There's a lot going on between the two of them, but I think that they blended together. In this version of the movie, Batgirl, in this version of Batman, Batgirl is not Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon's daughter. It is Alfred's niece. so that's a little different. There's a lot of weird things that happen in this movie. Again, the Batman nipple suit, but what's most famously quoted from this movie is the Bat card. Never leave the cave without it. Because Batman has his Bat credit card. But it's very interesting, and it shows, Poison Ivy trying to save the planet, and Mr. Freeze trying to freeze the planet, and then they work together, and then Poison Ivy kills Mr. Freeze's wife. It's the whole thing, but it's a different movie. I struggle to figure out which one I want to put, whether or not I want to put, which one I want to, if I want to put, I'm putting Batman and Robin in C. I'm going to put it in C. I forgot to tell you what it got for a score. Batman and Robin got an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 3.8 on IMDb. That's really low. Let's see what... I don't think I said what Batman Forever got. Batman Forever got a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it got a higher score than Batman and Robin. Wow, that's kind of pathetic. All right, I'm going to pause for a second. Look at the comments here. All right. Sorry, I was just reading the comments. No, so I just want everyone to know I'm placing everything in B tier to review it because it's in the middle. I'm not necessarily ranking them in B tier. No, Batman and Robin is not a B tier. I'm going to put it in C for now. I will probably change that later. All right. And let me bring it back up. Okay, so now we're moving on to the greatest trilogy of all time. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for saying that, but this is the greatest trilogy of all time. I would argue it's better than the Star Wars trilogy. The greatest trilogy of all time, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that. The Dark Knight trilogy. Starting with 2005. I want to say that was 2005. 2005's Batman Begins. Hold on. The internet's not working now. Why can't anything ever work for me here? Yes, I was right. 2005's Batman Begins. What can I say? Just a fantastic, true cinema. This is true cinema, all right? Batman Begins in 2005 stars Christian Bale as the Dark Knight, the Batman. Michael Caine as Alfred Pennyworth. Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow. Kate Holmes as Rachel Dawes. Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. Tom Wilkinson as Carmine Falcone. Are you kidding me? This is like an all-star cast. They have an all-star cast for this movie. And it got an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie starts with the young Bruce Wayne going and becoming Batman, training to become Batman with the League of Shadows, his time in prison. It's a much darker Batman movie. I could talk so much about this movie, but it was really good. And I don't think I'm going to do it enough justice by speaking about the movie. I don't think I can. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to rank it. Oh, I didn't mean to click it that way. I'm going to go ahead and I am ranking this as an S tier film. Hands down, S tier film. All right. Now, usually when we talk about a sequel to a movie, sequels are not very good. And that is because a movie gets a sequel because the first movie was such a success that it makes no sense to not make a sequel. So in making a sequel of a movie, the movie has to have everything that made the first movie good, plus more. And so usually it ends up failing to meet expectations. But that is not the case with the sequel of Batman Begins. Batman Begins gave us the cinematic masterpiece that is Batman The Dark Knight. I don't even have to review it. I know this is going in. It is his top S tier, top first place best Batman movie. The Dark Knight is without a doubt the greatest superhero movie to have ever been made. People still talk about that to this day, even years and years later. This movie was made in 2008, and it is still to this day the greatest superhero movie of all time to have ever been made. Batman The Dark Knight got a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 9 out of 10 on IMDb, and an 84% on Metacritic. And again, this stars Christian Bale as Batman, Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox, Michael Caine as Alfred Pennyworth, I don't know why I keep saying Pennywise, Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent, Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel Dawes, Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow, and of course the one and only Heath Ledger as Joker. Every minute of this movie is intense, has you on the edge of your seat, wanting to know what is going to happen next. Every act of the movie is just intense. There's not a dull moment in this film. I have seen this film dozens of times, and each time I watch it, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm jumping up and down. I'm filled with energy. It is just a phenomenal, phenomenal movie. And Heath Ledger, rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger never got to see the movie. He passed away before it came out. But this movie has also won a ton of awards. A ton. Heath Ledger won Academy Award for Best Actor in Supporting Role. It won the Empire Award for Best Film. It won the MTV Movie and TV Awards for Best Villain. It won the Golden Globes Award for Best Supporting Actor in Heath Ledger. The BAFTFA Award for Best Supporting Role, again, Heath Ledger. The People's Choice Award for Favorite Movie. The People's Choice Award for Favorite On-Screen chemistry between Heath Ledger and Christian Bale, the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance to Heath Ledger, the Academy Award for Best Sound Editing, the Critics' Choice Movie Award for Best Supporting Actor, Heath Ledger, Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance to, doesn't say who it was to, for stunts, the Critics' Choice Movie Award for Best Action Movie, the Japan Academy Prize Award for Best Outstanding Foreign Movie, the Costume Designers Guild Award for Excellence in Costume Design, the People's Choice Award for Favorite Action Movie, the Saturn Award for Best Music, the ADG Excellence, Morgan Freeman, Heath Ledger, and Christian Bale, the Seattle Award for Best Sound and Editing Mixing, the Phoenix Film Critics Society Award for Best Production, the San Francisco Film Critics Circle Award, the Florida Film Critics Circle Award for Best Cinematic Masterpiece. I don't know, I'm making that part up. Best Cinematography. The British Fantasy Award for Best Film. The Dallas-Fort Worth Film Critics Association Award. The Online Film Critics Society Award. The Chicago Film Critics Association Award. And the Central Ohio Film Critics Association Award. I don't even know of a movie that has gotten that many awards before. It is phenomenal. If you have not seen Batman The Dark Knight, you need to drop everything you're doing and you need to go and watch that right now. It is just a phenomenal movie. If you didn't even watch Batman Begins, you can still watch Batman The Dark Knight, and I think it'll still make sense. It is just such a great movie. Nothing I ever say will do enough justice for this movie. The actors are phenomenal. The story is phenomenal. I mean, this is Christopher Nolan. Right? Christopher Nolan made the Dark Knight trilogy. Christopher Nolan, for those of you that... Oh, I've heard that name before. Christopher Nolan made Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan is just a phenomenal director. Man, just thinking about the Dark Knight gets me amped up. It is so exciting. Go and watch the Dark Knight if you have not watched the Dark Knight. I don't even. Again, I'm not going to discuss it because it's so good. I think I wouldn't be able to do it enough justice. And I'm not going to talk about the plot. Oh, here we go. So the next movie that we are going to be ranking is the finale to the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight. The 2012's The Dark Knight Rises. The epic conclusion to the cinematic masterpiece that is the Christopher Nolan Batman universe. Batman, The Dark Knight Rises. Again, when making sequels to movies, it's really hard, right? And I can only think of really like two franchises that made great sequels. Or sequels that were better than the first movie. And that would be Spider-Man 2 and Batman the Dark Knight. Now, they had to make a sequel to The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises. Now, before I continue, I watched this interview with Christian Bale one time about the Dark Knight trilogy. And I guess the way that they made it is they never made it thinking that there was going to be a next movie. So Batman Begins, they made it not thinking they were going to make another movie. And that's why it ended up being so successful. The Dark Knight, they made it without thinking they were going to make another movie. And that's what made it so successful. I mean, at the end of the Batman Begins, they show like the Joker card. And obviously they were setting something up, but they didn't know that they were going to be doing a sequel. Now, The Dark Knight Rises is the epic conclusion to the Dark Knight trilogy. Unfortunately, The Dark Knight Rises does have darkness over it. The Dark Knight Rises was... I don't know if you guys remember this. But The Dark Knight Rises, there was that massive mass shooting in the movie theater at the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises. I wasn't allowed to go and watch the movie in the theater because of that. It's a very tragic thing that happened, and I feel for all those people that lost their lives just for going to watch a Batman movie in the theater. It's very sad. So unfortunately, every time I talk about The Dark Knight Rises or I go to watch it, I do think about that horrible tragic thing that happened in the movie theater. But anyway, The Dark Knight Rises has to pick up off the tail of... I'm getting a spam call. Go away. Has to pick up off the tail of The Dark Knight, right? Which was an incredible movie. The Dark Knight Rises got an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Dark Knight Rises, once again, it stars Christian Bale as Batman. It stars Michael Caine as Alfred, Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. You've got Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox, Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as John Blake, a.k.a. Robin. It's Maureen Cotillard as Talia al Ghul. And I want to say, was it Tom Hardy played Bane? For some reason, it doesn't show Bane in the cast list of the movie, but I believe Tom Hardy played Bane. This is another movie that's just... It's incredible. It's hard to talk about because it truly is the epic conclusion to the Dark Knight trilogy, because it includes everything from the previous two movies, all of the events from the previous two movies that built up this universe, all of the lore, everything into this final movie. We get to see the progression of Batman and Bruce Wayne and his journey from when he left the League of Shadows to this point. Commissioner Gordon from when he was just Lieutenant Gordon up to this point. I think one of my favorite parts of the Dark Knight trilogy is just how much screen time Commissioner Gordon gets and how much of a central character he is. Gary Oldman, who plays Commissioner Gordon, fantastic actor. I guess he was one of Christian Bale's mentors, and I wonder if that's one of the reasons he got this character. But they worked so well together. You see this man who is one of the only good and honest cops in Gotham City that is just trying his hardest to bring the peace and trusting Batman and trusting this man he doesn't know. And it's such a beautiful moment because in the first film, in Batman Begins, you see the young Bruce Wayne after his parents were murdered, and you see a younger Lieutenant Gordon, and he puts a jacket around Bruce Wayne's shoulder and says, "It's okay, it's going to be okay, the world's not over," right? And you see, the adult aiding the child, right? But then Bruce Wayne grows up, and now he's the Batman aiding Lieutenant Gordon. And, by this movie, he's Commissioner Gordon. And The Dark Knight Rises is just an all-out war. An atomic nuclear bomb is going to go off in Gotham City. And it's up to Batman and Commissioner Gordon and Robin. He's not Robin in the movie, but he would have gone on to be Robin. And Catwoman. And it is just so good. And it ties the whole story together from the beginning with Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul to the end. And it's such a phenomenal movie. And Alfred makes me cry in this movie. Oh my gosh. Michael Caine is a phenomenal... You cannot get a better cast than the cast in the Dark Knight series, the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm very passionate about the Dark Knight trilogy. I could watch it 100 times, and I would never get tired of it, and I will always be on the edge of my seat, and I will always be gripping it, and I will always... Great movie. All right, so Dark Knight, and then it's going to go Dark Knight Rises, and then it's going to go Batman Begins. All right. Woo! Man, I'm amped up just talking about the Dark Knight trilogy. Go watch the Dark Knight trilogy. If you have not watched the Dark Knight trilogy, go watch the Dark Knight trilogy. All right. Now we leave the cinematic masterpiece that was the Dark Knight trilogy. And we go on to the DCEU. The Detective Comics Extended Universe. DC's aim at making the MCU. Their aim at making a Marvel Cinematic Universe. Wow. The DCU did a lot of things wrong. And it did some things right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone has their opinions on the DCEU. Personally, I think, that they didn't release the movies in the right order. I think that they should have made a standalone Batman movie first. Batman sells. Batman sells. Especially coming off the tails of The Dark Knight, right? People would have gone and seen the movie. But maybe that's the reason they didn't make it, because they didn't think they could live up to the expectations of The Dark Knight. We should have had a standalone Batman movie before Man of Steel. But it went Man of Steel, and then it went Batman v Superman. Now, Batman v Superman takes place at the end of Man of Steel, so that's why I'm saying they should have. Ben Affleck as Batman. A lot of people don't like Ben Affleck. A lot of people do not like Ben Affleck. And a lot of people don't like Ben Affleck as Batman, or Batflick, as people call him. Let me get the movie up here. Let me get Batman v Superman up here. Again, I endured 6.5 hours of the DCEU last night. Anyway, Batman v Superman is what we are talking about right now. I saw Batman v Superman in the theater. So this is the DCEU's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice in 2016, and it got a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. It starred Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, why? Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and Jeremy Irons as Alfred Pennywise, and Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Now, a lot of people don't like Ben Affleck. As a fellow New Englander, Ben Affleck is a New Englander, and as a fellow New Englander, I shouldn't hate him. Ben Affleck is a very different Batman. He's a much older Batman, and they make that clear in the movie. In Batman v Superman, it has been made clear that Batman has been around for 20 years in Gotham City. So he's an older Batman. I can't tell exactly what happened, in the movie going into this movie, in the Batman universe. Because again, we didn't have a standalone Batman film to see what had happened before. In this version of Batman, Wayne Manor had been destroyed. It was burned down, which like it was at the beginning of Batman Begins. I don't know, but there's a lot going on in Batman v Superman. And we have the famous, as my friends and I joke about it, we call it the famous Pearl scene. It's in every Batman movie, and it's the Pearl scene, and that is when his parents are killed, and Martha Wayne's pearls that she wears, they always snap, and there's always the shot of the pearls falling on the ground. So we always joke when we go to see a Batman movie, are we going to see the pearls fall again? It starts with the pearl scene. The beginning scene of this movie is very similar to the beginning scene of Batman Begins. Obviously, Batman really has the one way that he became Batman, but it is very, very similar. I think they could have changed it a little bit. The first two acts of this movie just drag. They just drag. It's all about court hearings and is Superman good? Is Superman bad? And it's boring. The first two acts of this movie are boring. The movie does not get good. It does not get entertaining. You know, when I'm watching a superhero movie, I like to be on the edge of my seat. I like to be like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? You know, jumping up and down, excited. This movie drags. And it drags and it drags and it drags until they get to the third act. Until even after Batman and Superman fight each other, that's not even exciting. The exciting part happens, like when the movie starts to get exciting, is when Batman saves Superman's mother, Martha. When he saves Martha, and they start to battle Doomsday. When Bruce Wayne, when Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman team up to fight Doomsday. That is when the movie gets good. That is the end of the third act. That is almost 2 hours into this movie, and then it gets exciting. It gets, So, Batman v Superman gets a lower score than Batman and Robin. Sorry. But it does. Alright. Now moving on to Justice League. You can't save the world alone. Justice League, when did that come out? 2017? Justice League came out in 2017. I was right. It's exactly 2 hours. It's a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. I remember where it starred Ben Affleck as Batman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Ray Fisher as Cyborg, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, Amber Heard as Mara, J.K. Simmons as James Gordon, which was kind of cool, Jeremy Irons as Alfred, and Willem Dafoe was in this movie too. I remember I went to see Justice League in the movie theater with some friends. It was better than Batman v Superman. It was. I left the movie. I enjoyed it. I left it saying, oh, I enjoy this movie. I don't know if I'll watch it again. I enjoyed it. It wasn't terrible. That was that. That was that. You know, it wasn't terrible. It was better than Batman v Superman. I'm going to rank it in B. It's better than Batman v Superman, but yeah, unmemorable. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it, but I never thought I would watch it again. And now, so when I rewatch all the Batman movies, I did not rewatch Justice League. I rewatched the Snyder Cut, which is what we are going to be getting to now. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, Zack Snyder is the producer and the director of the DC Extended Universe. He did Batman v Superman, and he was going to do Justice League, but what ended up happening with Justice League is Zack Snyder had a family emergency. I believe his daughter died or something, and he ended up leaving the movie. He ended up leaving Justice League during the filming. I believe Joss Whedon Joss Whedon directed it in his place. And when you have multiple directors, when a director has their own vision, right? And when a director leaves, the vision changes. So the movie changed. It wasn't exactly the way that Zack Snyder had envisioned it to be. And so for a while, everyone was talking about, will Snyder release his own version of the movie? And he did. He released Zack Snyder's Justice League in 2021. And it got a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. What's interesting about the Snyder Cut is some people regard it as the greatest superhero movie. And, well, not the greatest superhero movie, but the greatest DCEU movie. And that it was very good, and it was one of the best movies that they've seen. And some people rank the Snyder Cut as the worst movie that they've ever seen. I'm in the category that I think the Snyder Cut was better than Justice League. My big problem with the Snyder Cut is that it is 4 hours long. 4 hours. Justice League, that was released in the theater in 2017, was only 2 hours. Zack Snyder's Justice League was 4 hours. If you cannot tell your story in 2.5 hours, then you either need to become a better storyteller or you need to make 2 movies. They could have very, very easily made 2 movies. But, I mean, essentially they're the same movie, right? I shouldn't say that. I'm going to get a lot of hate from the Snyder fan. When I say that, it's the same plot. You know, gathering the Justice League to fight Steppenwolf and save the world from Darkseid. It's the same plot. Zack Snyder's Justice League is just 2 hours longer. I enjoyed Snyder Cut. That's why I watched the Snyder Cut instead of Justice League again. It's long. It's really, really long. And I think they could have cut it in half. Where in the DVD release, it's 2 DVDs. And the first DVD ends when the Justice League is standing in a circle and goes, "We need to bring back Superman from the dead." It ends. They could have made 2 movies out of it. But if they did, there would have been barely any action in the first movie. I mean, Avengers Endgame is, what was it, 3.5 hours? Is it 3 hours or is it 3.5 hours? It's a long movie. And if you thought if you thought Endgame was a long movie, it's 3 hours. If you thought Endgame was a long movie, this movie is exactly 1 hour. It's 3 hours and 2 minutes. This movie is an hour more than that, because this is 4 hours and 2 minutes. So if you thought Endgame was a long movie, this is an hour longer than Endgame. You know, I think this movie, the Snyder Cut, made me start to grow. I started growing with Ben Affleck Batman. I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think she does a phenomenal job. I know a lot of people think that Wonder Woman is the greatest DCEU movie that was made. I really love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think Jason Momoa does a fantastic job as Aquaman. I love Cyborg. I love Cyborg. I wish Cyborg would have got his own standalone movie. And The Flash, Ezra Miller. When I first saw Justice League in the theater, like the original one, I thought Ezra Miller was so funny. I was like, Ezra Miller is a great choice for The Flash. Everyone was like, why don't they cast the guy that plays The Flash in the TV show? And then I saw Ezra Miller as The Flash, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're really funny. They're really good. But that was before all of the bad press about Ezra Miller started coming out, and they're bad press. You can look it up on your own, and the film and just you can look it up on your own. I'm a little, for those who don't know, the DC Extended Universe ended. There's no more DCEU movie. The last DC movie was Aquaman, I think it was, in the Lost Kingdom or whatever. It's over. And one of the biggest reasons that the DCEU ended, I believe, from the rumors that I've heard, is because of Black Adam. And there's a lot of drama and a lot of politics behind what happened during the filming of Black Adam and how that ended up being the end of the DCEU. But You know, I'm a little sad that we won't be able to see them fight Darkseid. I know people didn't like Justice League that much, but, you know, I sat through 4 hours of Justice League only to not see them fight Darkseid. I could have at least gotten the Darkseid movie. Like, come on. 4 hours of a movie and we didn't even get to see them fight Darkseid. They just fought Steppenwolf. And now we're not even going to be able to see them fight Darkseid because they don't do the DCEU anymore. So the next DCEU Batman movie would be The Flash. I haven't seen The Flash yet. I know Ben Affleck says that The Flash is when he really started to get and understand Batman, which is kind of concerning that many movies in. I have not seen The Flash yet. So moving on to ranking the last Batman movie. The Batman, which was released in 2022, I want to see. The Batman is the first movie that I saw in theaters since COVID. After COVID, it was the first movie I saw in theaters. The Batman was in 2022's The Batman. It's almost it's Matt Reeves directed it. It's almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 56 minutes, and it stars Robert Pattinson as Batman, Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle, Catwoman, Paul Dano as Riddler, Colin Farrell as Penguin, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, and Andy Serkis as Alfred, and John Turturro, I'm sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, as Carmine Falcone. 85% of Rotten Tomatoes. Matt Reeves, The Batman, phenomenal movie. Phenomenal movie. A lot of people did not give it a chance because people don't like the DCEU. They didn't give it a chance because people are haters. The Batman is phenomenal. Great movie. It's less action. You know, in the Dark Knight trilogy, in the DCEU, it's all action-based. The Batman is more detective-based, which is like going back to what Batman was. I would put Batman in S rank. All right. Now it's time to review our order here. Make our final touches. I would agree Batman the Dark Knight first, Dark Knight Rises second, Batman Begins third. You know, Adam West Batman 1966 is so special in my heart that I would love to put it in first place. It's going to stay in S rank, but I think I'm going to rank Matt Reeves the Batman over it. I might even put it down in A. I'm keeping it in S. I'm keeping it in S simply for nostalgia purposes. All right. Let's see if I agree with all of the list here. I would put Batman v Superman in D. Justice League above it. I can't believe I'm rating Batman and Robin over Justice League. I'm not. I'm not. This looks pretty good to me. So The Dark Knight is first. Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, The Batman, Batman Returns, Batman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman Forever, Justice League, Batman and Robin, and Batman v Superman in last place. All right, everybody. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see our list. Here is our list. Here's our list of the Batman movie tier list. Actually, yeah, let's download. Let me download. Download image. I meant to download the last one and I didn't. All right, I'm gonna be interested to see how ours compares with other people's. So let's look. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Let me view community ranking. Interesting. So both of these people put Matt Reeves' Batman as first and The Dark Knight as second. Let me load up this guy's. Alright, so this guy put the Batman in first, Dark Knight in second. Again, I didn't put the animated. Lego Batman in A, really? I didn't watch Lego Batman. I want to. They put Batman over The Dark Knight Rises. Interesting. Batman v Superman is not better than Batman 1966. I'm sorry, my guy. Although these are the only two people that ranked them. This guy didn't even rank them all. Alright, so that was our Batman movie tier list, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll try to catch up in the comments here. Where do I rank the Batman Sings video? Obviously S rank. Obviously S rank. Obviously S rank. Easy S rank. A Pokemon tier list. I was thinking about doing a Pokemon game tier list. Maybe I'll do that next week, perhaps. Anyway, wow, we've been streaming for an hour. I guess I'm really passionate about Batman. I got stuff to go do. I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching the Batman movie tier list. Enjoy your weekend. Stay warm. And I will see you next time.